Hello. We're live. We're talking about mapped, but really not just mapped. We're talking about tracking everything to make your application process easier and to keep up with it, and how to do that, what you should be paying attention to, all that fun stuff. So we'll do like a little brief overview of pre-PA stuff, and then we will jump in. Also, let me know if you were able to check out Mapped at all, if you know what it is. This is a very new thing, specifically for the pre-PA side. So the people who actually made it and created it, Dr. Ryan Gray and Rachel Grubbs, they are more familiar with the pre-med side. So that's where I've come in to help make the pre-PA part amazing for you guys. I've talked about it on social. We have MappedCon coming up. So if you're in the Baltimore area or near there, it's a live in-person conference, October 6th through 8th. And I have some really great pre-PA sessions planned. There's an admissions panel, student panel, lots of really cool things. I'm talking about the application process. I'm on a practicing PA panel, but it should be a really fun time to like meet in person, and conferences are a really good opportunity for networking and meeting other people that will be your colleagues later, or meeting schools. So we would love to have you there if you are close to Baltimore and want to join us. That'd be really fun. Okay, so Catherine, yes, been using Mapped and love it so far. Looking to see if there's any other features I'm missing out on, which there probably are. And that's the thing. I know it can be very overwhelming when you first log on and there's a lot going on. So I'm going to walk you through everything. But we also want to know what features you want. So I can sit there all day and say like, oh, it would be cool if we added this, or if this was part of it. But I want to know what you guys need, like what would be helpful to you in this application process to make it easier. That's our goal, is to just get you as many resources as possible to make your life better, because you'll be less stressed about applications. So that would be extremely helpful if you can, give us some insights on any issues you're having or anything you see that we could make better. I find little bugs and glitches all the time that I'm reporting and going back to the team with to say like, hey, fix this. I don't know how to fix it, but somebody does. So we work on that. So Michaela says, on Mapped, is there a way to upload transcripts so we don't have to type all classes in individually? That would be nice. We're working on that. So there's a couple different things with entering your transcripts. It is a very tedious process, similar to how you have to do it in CASPA, where you have to enter every single thing. The problem with transcripts is they're all so different, and the information looks different. So it's hard to find a way for something to be able to pull all of that information. One thing we are working on right now, and I will make sure everyone here knows about this and has access to this when it is more functional, is having a team of pre-health advisors like myself and our coaches input your transcripts for you, so that you upload your transcript and then an actual person is doing that for you, kind of knows where to place stuff. Because as you do it, it does get easier. And I'll show you some ways to make that process a little bit quicker. Okay. Some of this that I'm going to talk about has a little bit of like med school stuff too in it, but you can just ignore that part. This is like a funny little thing of, we talk about drinking out of a fire hydrant. But we know this process is very confusing and complicated. So apologies. I wish it would get easier. Maybe one day it will. But for now, it is very, very complicated. So a little overview of just kind of no matter where you're at in the process, things to be thinking about. So your first couple of years when you're in undergrad, I know like thinking about this from a non-traditional standpoint, we go back to when you were an undergrad, even if you're taking classes later. So there's the school part where you're figuring out what you want to do, asking lots of questions, and trying to get some insight on your career path and how to get there once you decide. So if you've decided on PA, that's awesome. You're kind of ahead of the game. Then you have to come up with your list of schools and figure out what classes you need. And then we put letters of recommendation really early, because that is a part of the application process that trips people up when you don't have people to write you letters, it can make it difficult if you need a specific PA letter or professor letter. So as early as possible, you want to start strategically thinking about and planning who will write your letters of recommendation and keeping in contact with those people. As of right now, there is no way to save your letters of recommendation to submit them in a later application cycle. One cool thing that MAPT has done is on the pre-med side, they have developed something called My LORs, which is similar to Interfolio, where it can save your letters and submit them straight to the application, which is amazing. One of the med school application services is very similar to CASPA and runs kind of on the same platform or whatever. This tech stuff is over my head, but I'm learning. So we are hopeful that in the future, we can convince CASPA to do something similar so that you could save your letters and submit them when you're ready to apply. That is a huge issue, I feel like, with PA school applications, because it just makes it so much more difficult. And then you're having to follow up with these people and they're having to save their letter. And yes, we absolutely need that. So we are working towards it. It is not there now. Probably not for next cycle. I mean, that would be amazing. We have some, meetings coming up. We're trying to work on it, but that is a hope for the future, is that we can figure out a way to do that for the PA side of things. All right, so we're talking about prerequisite coursework. You guys are probably familiar with this, but these are some of the courses that you may end up needing. Biology series, general chemistry series, anatomy and physiology series, stats and or biostats, psych or a version of psych, organic and or biochem, English, microbiology with lab. There's some math that can be thrown in there. Genetics can be thrown in there. Lots of different classes. So that's why it's important to know where you want to apply and be checking their prereqs and requirements regularly. So we're also going to think about our activities, and on the PA side, we call that experience more often. Patient care experience. You hopefully throughout this process are going to be getting experience regularly, and we'll be able to see that in MAP and see kind of how it tracks. It's fine to kind of wait till the end and get a lot of experience, but ideally a more complete application kind of, whole package type thing is going to have experience throughout your decision. From your decision to become a PA to the time you apply, you will have consistent experience. So patient care experience, whether it's paid, whether it's volunteer, shadowing, volunteer, community service type stuff, research, extracurriculars, leadership, figuring out what you like to do, what you enjoy to do, and what you're passionate about, and devoting your time to those things. I'll show you in MAP how to keep track of that. So in year, 3, junior year, if you're traditional, that's when we're definitely thinking about letters of recommendation, taking tests. So the PA CAT and or the GRE typically, you do not need to take the MCAT for PA school unless a school requires it, but none require it. Some will take it, but they don't require it. And then when you are in that application process, you apply once CASPA opens in April, about a year before you want to start school. So we want to start our application early. We want to have everything ready, everything go, and then we will, hopefully submit early for those rolling admission schools, and then get our interviews and acceptances early. So we don't need to dwell on that too much. So once you're in the application cycle, doing interviews, figuring out what you want to do, and keeping track of everything. So let's get into looking at MAPT and talking through some of this and what you can do. I'm going to show you the slides, and then I'm going to actually show you the my pre-PA prototype person and walk you through some stuff to show you how to make it even easier. And if you have any thoughts, any ideas, any criticisms, let us know, because this is here to help you guys. All right, so what is Mapped? When you look at the Mapped website, there's so much in it that it can get a little confusing to explain it. I'm still trying to figure out my like elevator pitch of what it is and why you need it. If you have a great like one-liner or description, let me know. But one of our favorite things is this free application accurate GPA calculator. So with Mapped, we're tracking everything that you need for your application to show you if you're ready, where you're at, what you need to work on. So these beautiful graphs can kind of show you like, hey, this was a rough semester. What happened here? Granted, it was still like a close to a 3.1 when we look at this scale, but something was going on right here. If we look at this science GPA, it started out a little bit better and it's kind of slowly gone down. So what's going on? Like, that's not really the upward trend that we want to see. So what's going on with that? So you can see all of this and kind of see where you're at, see what you need to do, see how many credits you're taking. Oh, well, that was like a rough semester. You took a lot of credits. This semester you took less credits and didn't do as well. So it gives us a lot of information and gives you this cumulative GPA and science GPA, which yours would be CASPA, and I'll show you that. So the GPA calculator is a huge part of it because that is one of the questions I get the most is what is my CASPA GPA? How do I figure it out before I apply? Because CASPA does not show you that GPA until after you're verified. You do need to make sure your courses are inputted correctly, and we'll walk through that. We also have the activity and experience tracking. So again, this pretty graph that you can look very quickly and see, okay, we've had clinical experience pretty consistently. That's great. Not a ton of hours, but a little bit. Heavy on the research hours more recently. So as you do activities, you can add them and you can add reflections, you can add details so that you can pull from that information later when you're writing your personal statement and your supplementals to help remember everything. And again, just make your life easier. In the past, I've said like, oh, put it in a notes thing in your phone and just keep up with it that way. But if I looked at my notes app the other day and I had 300 notes. Do I really refer back to those that often? No. Should I go through and delete them? Yes. Is there probably some helpful information in there? Probably, but it's hard to find. So we have everything in one place to keep you from having to search for all of that information or start a new note. So you can have everything in here ready to go. All right, so this is the dashboard you'll see. And disclaimer, we're doing a big overhaul right now on Mapped, so it is going to look different, but some of the stuff that you'll see moving forward is kind of like tell me if y'all like this, an Am I Ready score. So based on where you're planning to apply, looking at your GPAs, your experience, your test scores, it will kind of give you a score of sorts to let you know like, hey, you're, 85% there, you need to work on X, Y, Z, and kind of point you in those directions of what you need to do. So we thought that would be helpful. And then, yeah, this will look just a little bit different, a little bit easier. So in this PA dashboard, you have your activities, the prereqs. So right now, if I go back on the med side, this is super cool and it's coming for PA. It has each school here. Can I zoom? Let me zoom in on that. I think we show it more later, but it has each school here that this person's applying to and the percent completion of their prereqs. So as you enter your classes, it will show you like, okay, for this program, you're not quite there. You need to take more prereqs, and then you can click into that and go see what else you need to do. So it kind of tracks that for you. You can research and build a school list. I'll show you that too, but the schools, it has every PA school in there. I will tell you, disclaimer right now, the information is not as updated as I would like it to be. Our team is working on that. Michelle and Emily are working on that to make sure that we are completely updated and then making sure that we have a process to keep that information updated. That has been my biggest issue with all of the different resources out there with program list is that it just isn't updated enough. The best place to get information about a school is on the school website. And that is a very cumbersome thing to have to go search through all of these websites. So using technology, using lots of things, we are hopeful that we have a system where we'll be able to update regularly to keep this list updated for you, and you'll have everything you need in one place. And again, like everything we've talked about is free. So that's the cool thing about Mapped, and it's hard to differentiate. So Mapped in itself, all of this stuff, that the application tracker stuff you could put in an Excel sheet, all that is free, and it is always free. There is a pro version which has one-on-one advising that I will show you, that is paid, but you can decide if that's something that you need or not if you don't have access to another advisor. Oh, this is it. Sorry. So this chat advising, if you want to chat one-on-one on the pre-PA side right now, that advisor is me. Our coaches are getting trained on how to work Mapped and do all of that. But the cool thing about advising is I can see you, I can see your account and talk about it. So as people send me questions, I can go to their account, I can look at the dashboard, I can look at their courses, their experiences, and give really personalized feedback on that. So with our code, you get 2 free months of advising, which is great. Like, take advantage. Ask all your questions, see if you have a need for advising. If you're in school and you have a one-on-one advisor who's good, you may not really need this right now, but maybe when it comes time to apply, you do. So if you do need that one-on-one advising, it's $750 a month to have that pro version where you get access to this advising, and we usually respond within a day or two. So that's a cool feature. Another thing in the pro version is we are going to have some kind of open office hours, like specialized webinars just for pro users in Mapped, so that you can get your questions answered one-on-one if it's something that's hard to explain over chat. We will have some of those as well. Okay, so this is all the free stuff. We've talked about that. And then I'll show it to you. And then we're hopeful this my LORs that we get for the PA side very soon. Okay, so let's jump in. Any questions so far about Mapped? Any thoughts, any ideas, anything that like jumps out at you? And any questions as we go just about PA stuff is totally fine too. All right, can you see it? Okay, so this is my fake account. If you see Savannah Perry, that's me. And this is my dashboard. So I made this profile from a CASPA application of someone I know personally who let me use it. So you can move it, you can look at these a little bit bigger, or you can keep them small and it just adjusts. So if we look at this GPA one, I will make that bigger. Here we go. So if we look at this GPA dashboard, here we can see, this science is a nice upward trend. As we go to it, it'll show us what that GPA was for each semester, which is pretty cool. It has our cumulative GPA, science GPA here. And, cumulative is pretty consistent. It goes down a little bit, but not too bad. Activity hours, you can toggle here to show experience. So this person got a lot of experience while they're in school and then kind of went into just doing clinical stuff. A lot of non-healthcare employment here, but that gives us a little bit of an idea of kind of what they've been doing. You can also take some of this out. So like if you don't want to see that and you just want to see clinical, or you don't want to see clinical, you can see whatever. And same thing up here. Like if you just want to see cumulative and science, you can take those out and just see your overall and your science GPA. So down here right now, it just has like in general what the prereqs are that are complete. Hopefully very, very soon we should have the actual schools down here, and it'll show you which of your schools and how close you are on prereqs. And then here you can toggle between the PA-CAT and the GRE. This person just took the GRE one time, so their graph isn't very impressive. It's also not showing y'all the whole thing. I'll go back to the other view. So, so it shows everything there. All right, so the cool things that you may not know about, this is one of them. So here in the roadmap, this is a very general roadmap of kind of based on when you said you're going to apply, what you need to do. So it has all these things. That's great. That's cool. But what you can do, oh shoot, it doesn't show you this. Let me see if I can fix this view so y'all can see it. Or maybe my head's just in the way. Can I move myself? I don't know how to move my picture. So at the bottom, right under where my picture is, there's a little plus sign that comes up where you can create a roadmap milestone and do, okay, there we go. Okay, anyway, it says create a roadmap milestone at the top where you can't see it. But you can pick a specific date or however many months before you want to start PA school. So like 12 months before I start PA school, I want to save money for moving expenses. Like that's very random, but what came to my head. You can send yourself notifications, you can send reminders, so I can add that. And then it's going to put it on my roadmap down here. So I put that on there. And so then you can add other stuff. So if I wanted to add like take the GRE, if I'm going to take it, let's say I'm taking it next month. Take GRE. And so it'll put that on there and it'll add it. So you have these milestones that you can like move around and edit as you need to. That's a cool thing, just like very personalized. So Catherine says, is the GPA calculator fairly close to the way CASPA will calculate it? I've been using it, finding it so helpful. I'm hopeful the CASPA GPA, blah, blah, blah. I'm hopeful when CASPA calculates my GPA next cycle, it won't be a surprise. Yes, the GPA calculator is extremely accurate. At one point, it was rounding up, and I had them change that because CASPA does not round. So it should be right on as long as everything's inputted correctly, which we'll go to next. So here in courses, let me zoom back out. I need to learn shortcuts better. Okay, cool. So here's your courses. And you input your schools up at the top. There's if you go to your profile, that's where you put the schools you've attended. And then here, also up at the top, this makes me so mad it won't show up, but there's a view GPA details where you can go and see more about your GPA. And then you can use this calculate projected GPA. So if I say that I'm going to take 10 more science hours and I'm going to get a 4.0, it's going to tell me how my GPA will change. So my science GPA will go up to a 3.19. My overall GPA will go from a 3.43 up to a 3.47. So I feel like that is hard to see sometimes, and like people may not even know it's there. So yeah, back to courses. Here you have all of your coursework that you can enter. The cool thing is most programs catalogs are in here. So if I go to Mercer, if I know that I took developmental psychology or some type of psychology, I don't know what kinds they have. Psychology of gender sounds good. So I took that, and you can say when you took it. These things carry over so that you're not having to put them in every single time. So once you get started with entering your classes, it is a lot easier as long as you remember to change these. So if that's, let's say, a more recent class I took, I did it post-bac. It was 3 credits. I got an A, and then it fulfills that prereq. So you can change this. It auto-populates. And then you can mark it as science if it's a science course or not. So yes, so we can save that course, and then it will go straight into there. So yeah, so that's really easy. You can filter it as you need to. You can go into these and edit them, but everything is there. And then we have experiences. So does this actually show you exactly what I might be missing from school to school, as my PA box says? Yes, I'll show you that. So the prereq part of it is not active yet, but it will be in this next update, so that part will function. And then, yeah, it should show you, you'll be able to kind of like filter out to see which schools you fit for based on stuff and figure out where you can kind of look at a little bit closer. So experiences, here's where the experiences are. So you can add a new experience. Let's say this one's going to be teaching soccer. And I want that to be a teaching experience. It's 5 to 6 year olds in Georgia. Whatever. So you can save it and then you can add those hours as you do them. So like, let's say I did that today for 4 hours. Helped a kid who was crying. I don't know, like you can add your reflection here, you can add your experience details here, however you want to do it. And you can save that. And then you can upload more hours as you need to. So then it shows up and you can just add once they're in there. Another thing that we're working on is making a way for you to just export all of this information into a document to use to go into your application. And like on the dream list is for it to automatically upload into the application once you have it all in here. So you wouldn't have to actually copy paste or do it all again. Here's your test. You can decide which test you want to record in here. Feedback, these are just some kind of things that can come up. It's showing me some different ones because I had it on the pre-med. I was going back and forth between pre-med and pre-PA. How do we enter a class that was taken as AP in high school? I don't know that you can enter AP classes. Let's try it. You don't really need to enter AP classes unless you just want to, because they don't go into your GPA calculations at all. So yeah, so if you want a way to put AP classes in there, I can make sure we have that added though. It wouldn't be hard to add in there if that would be helpful. All right, so this is the advising. So if you, want to start a chat, you can do that and just say, hi there, I have a question. Y'all can't see that, but, and if you send that, it's going to come right now, again, straight to me. And I will get back with you and I'll be able to see all of your stuff in here that you've entered and go from there. Contacts, if you have people that you want to write letters of recommendation, you can add them here. So you can put that there. You can add their contact info, any notes that you want. And then when we get into applications, this is where you pick your schools. So you can add a school and you can put your application status that you have. So, deposit paid, we got in. And you can save that. And it puts it in there. If we go into one of these, you can change it if you got waitlisted, whatever, and do what you need to do there. You can add notes about the school here as well. And this is going to look a lot different in the next version. I think it looks better because it'll have kind of columns with where you're at in the process for each one. Here in this tab, I feel like right now is kind of hidden, so it'll be a little bit more evident moving forward. But here's where it has some more essay or application specific information. So it tells you about the application. We will have more supplemental info in here. We have a supplemental library on the PA platform, and we'll get it integrated into here. And then you can actually work on your essays here also. So if you want to go into your personal statement, you can start drafting. Again, I'll be able to see that. Your advisor will be able to see that if you're chatting with them. And then you can download it as a Word document. Leave comments. We could comment back and forth, that kind of stuff on it. You can have different drafts if you want to add a new one. You can work on your experience details, or you can keep that with the experiences and just put everything in there that you will need. All right, so PA schools, we have some saved here, and then you can search for any others. So if you go to a school, it's going to give you a bunch of information. It's going to tell you about this school, have a lot of different things here, your social media, talk about secondary applications, GPAs, all this stuff here. So this will, in the next iteration, have a way for you to kind of filter this out and figure out what schools fit for you based on connected. Once the prereqs are connected, it'll say like, hey, you got to see an organic chemistry for XYZ program. You need a B or higher, and let you know that that's something that you need to continue working on. So we have that in PA schools, and then here in resources, there's some different stuff, posts that'll help, and then we'll be adding more here, as well as some more kind of like walkthrough and tips throughout to kind of help make sure you get everything added correctly. So yeah, there's a lot in there. I think once you get it set up, then you can, my recommendation would be to kind of come back to Mapped each week and enter in whatever else you have. I mean, you could do it monthly, weekly, whatever. Just set up a schedule so that you like come back to it, enter everything in, see where you're at, do like a little check-in, and then move forward. So Catherine said, will your advisors review your personal statement? So not like a full review. We can take like a quick glance at it, but all the like essay review and everything will still be like separate through the PA platform, just because we can't like really edit in there as much. But we can give you some like quick tips, overview kind of stuff in Mapped. So yeah, what do y'all think? Is that helpful? Not helpful? Hate it? Love it? What else do we need to do to make it better, or what do you want to see? Yeah, so that's a little overview of Mapped. I'll be doing more kind of like walkthrough stuff, and again, we'll have to do like a whole nother walkthrough when it looks different, which will be, I don't know when that's supposed to launch completely. Again, this is like a whole new world for me with like learning about software and development, and it's so involved and so complex. I'm very grateful that someone out there knows how to do it, but it is not me. So I'm the one who comes up like, hey, I have this idea, or can we do this? And then they'll tell me yes or no. So if there's anything that you guys want to see, let me know. When is the update coming out? I think within like a month or so. And it's going to look very different. I don't know if I have pictures or if I'm allowed to share what it's going to look like. Basically, like the sidebar will be a little bit more helpful. It'll have a lot more kind of spelled out, because I feel like there's so much in it right now that's just hidden, that's hard to find and see because there is so much. So we're just trying to make it more simple and add things like we've talked about, adding kind of like forums and ways to connect with students who are in the same classes that you're in, or who have been in the same classes, especially if you were looking for tutoring, to see if that would be something that would be helpful. We're going to have the specific kind of office hour type sessions in there. There is also a feature where you can share your Mapped account with your advisor at your school. And it's free for them to use, free for you to use. So you can add them so they can see everything in there too. So if you're in school and you have an advisor that you're working with, they can see everything and look at it. So that's pretty neat. Okay, Katie says, I tried to add a course that was not in the system. It was then added when I put in my courses, but it will not let me save the course. Any tips? Well, if you want to tell me what it is, I can try to look at it right now and we can do it together. You'd have to tell me what school it was at also, probably. So if you try to add a course that doesn't exist, let's see, I don't want to mess it up by like making one up, but let's just do it anyway. I can delete it later. Let's do PAC 2020. Okay, we're just gonna like say that. So if it's not in there, you do this submit a missing course. Physician assistant studies. They're gonna even get mad at me for making this up, but it's cool. We're good. So if we put that in, we save it, and then let's say it was 4 credits, and we got an A. We can save it. So that did let me save it and created that course. So what happens usually is we get a like a notification that a course needs to be approved, and then we can look at it. Okay, Virginia Polytechnic Institute. Okay. What courses does science GPA take into account? I'll pull that up in just a second. Other courses that worked for me, so I don't know why it didn't work. Okay. I'll look at that one. If you want to send me like a private message with exactly what the course is, or email me, I can look at it and see what's going on and see if we can get it added. That'd probably be the easiest. Let me add. Okay. So if we go here, this is where you can find what's included in science. So if you just type in, like I just did, CASPA course science, course subjects, this list comes up, and then it has everything. We have a YouTube video that walks through this too, because it goes first by the title of the course and then the subject. So if a course is biology 300, but it's psychology of plants, then that's a psychology course, so it's never science. But on the flip side, if it's psych 300 and it's called biology of plants, that's a biology class, not a psych class. So it goes by the title of the course and then the subject if there is no title. But for any of these, you can, I just did control find, and I can type in, like, I'm trying to think of one that gets me messed up sometimes. Bioethics. So bioethics is a science class, even though if I type in just ethics, it is a non-science class. So you would use that to figure out what is science or non-science. Okay. Cool. Okay, so Katie sent me that information. Let me see if I can add. Let's see what happens. Here, I can show you this. Can y'all hear my husband? He's crazy. Oh, wait, I didn't mean to do that. That's going to look crazy. There it is. Okay. So let's add a school. Virginia. Ooh, which campus were you at? Okay, I need the campus, and then I need the subject and number, and we can add that. Okay, question. If you have a science GPA around 3.2, would you recommend doing a post-bac? What are your thoughts on DIY post-bac? DIY post-bac is a great idea. My recommendation is first start with any prereqs. So if you have a prereq with a C or lower, retake those and try to get a B or higher. And then go on to any recommended classes, and those you can kind of put into your post-bac. If you know, something like genetics, upper level sciences, that kind of thing, do those next. But definitely get that like prereqs ready first and then move on to other classes. And let's see. With the experience section, are you able to add a start date and end date and roughly how many hours you worked for the week if you no longer work there? Yeah. So you can, you can put all of that in, and it'll track it. Similar to CASPA, same kind of thing. So, okay. So we have this. Let me save that. Then let's go back to courses. Add a course. Got it. Our new school is there. So biology. Okay, so I'm seeing it. It must have added it for you. Yeah. You said it was a 1-credit course. Let's say you got an A. And it looks like it saved it. So yeah, so maybe it try again. Maybe it looks like it's in there now. So you should be good to go. Hopefully. All right, I know this was a little different webinar because it was like a walkthrough and pretty specific, but hopefully this was helpful, and I would love your feedback. You're not going to hurt my feelings. So if there's anything you love, hate, whatever, ideas, please send them my way. And we'll be touching base on lots of stuff. We have probably going to do some more interview stuff coming up. And then we have some, if you're applying in the next cycle, some really, really fun things with like kind of some group stuff we're going to do that I think will be really, really nice. So stay tuned. We'll send you emails, and thanks for tuning in, everyone. I'm going to call it a little early tonight so I can get to bed before I go to work tomorrow, but thank you guys for joining. Have a good week, everybody.